right, this is going to be like a world record shortest video ever. Got circles in the coordinate plane. So like we use equations to graph lines, like y equals mx plus b. Circles have equations also. And here in blue, you can see this is the equation of a circle. Now it's way messier than a y equals mx plus b. But as messy as it is, it holds all the key information that you would want to graph a circle. If I was going to graph this circle over here, I'd want to know where the center is, and I'd want to know how big to make the circle. So I'm going to know the radius. And the way that this equation is written, it actually comes from a distance formula, because every point on the circle is the same distance from the center. So that's where it comes from. But ultimately, you have the radius we call r. So your equation is always going to be equal to your radius squared. So you'll square root it to figure out what the radius is. The other piece of information, that center point, is HK. So right here you can see H and K. So whatever you have in parentheses with the X, that's how far you move left or right. What's in the Y is how far you move up and down to get to that center point. Now notice that in the formula it says X minus H. So if it said X minus 3, then I would move right 3. So when that would seem weird because it's going to say a minus 3. You ultimately are always doing the opposite of what this sign says. If I wanted to go left 3, then I'd do minus negative 3, but that would look like a minus negative is a plus positive. So let's look at some. I've got one slide. This is all there is. Okay, so what's the standard equation of the circle with a center of 5, negative 2? So they're telling me my h and my k, and the radius is 7. So the way we would format that, it's going to be x minus how far I move left or right, which is 5 according to the center. And you put that in parentheses and square it. There's always a plus sign here. And then you do the same thing with your y value. But it's a y minus a negative 2, which we're never going to write that as a minus a negative 2. We're just going to write it as a plus 2 squared equals your radius squared, 49. And then you're done. You've written your equation. That's all we got to do. All right, so how about if you do the next two? They're a little bit trickier through, well, the first one's fine. The second one, threw some negatives in there, radical. See what you can do with the 1A and B. Pause the video, go write your answer, then come back. Okay, here's what I've got. In the first one, pretty straightforward, just plugged my 3 and my 5 in, so it's x minus 3 and a y minus 5. This is always a plus sign, and these are always squared. Took the radius and squared it. All right, so over here, since they're already negatives, I'm going to have a minus a negative, which is going to make that turn positive. So it's going to look like x plus 2 squared. Same thing with my y's. It'll be a y plus 1 squared. And then if you take a square root of 2 and square it, well, the square root just goes away. It's like root 2 times root 2. Just 2. Okay, let's go the other way. What if I already give you the equation and I want you to go graph it? Well, the idea is that you can pull out then the key parts. You pull out the center, you pull out the radius. So looking at this then, I look at what is the h. So the h is what's here with the x. The k is right here. So it's always the opposite sign. So the x is going to be a negative 7 and the y is going to be a positive 5. That's the center. And then the radius, remember the formula equals radius squared. So if you square root that, you get 4. If I wanted to go graph it, I would just plot the center, and then typically what I do is I'll just go left 4 units, up 4 units, right 4 units, down 4 units from that center and get some points to go ahead and make my circle. All right, you try number 26. What do you think? What's your center going to be? All right, you should have a positive 3 and a negative 8. And then what do you think the radius on this one should be? 10, right? It equals r squared, so r would be 10. Okay, this last one is supposed to be an easy one, but sometimes because it looks different, it makes it harder. If you don't have any parentheses at all, there, like this had a mess of parentheses. Well, what must have been in the parentheses is a 0. So this is an x minus 0 squared and a y minus 0 squared. So this is just centered at the origin. And then your radius would be 6. All right, that's all I've got. Good luck.